Today we're talking about core training for beginners. What does it need to look like? How do we create a stronger core? How do we create a stronger core with a healthy spine? These are all the questions that we're going to be looking at. So we're going to look at one simple exercise, but mainly we're going to focus on how we perform that exercise, because how we perform it is in some respects a little bit more important to the exercise that we are choosing. If you are a beginner to core training and you want to build a stronger, more stable core and healthier spine, then just click the link below. Go through to my How to Build Core Strength and Stability 12-week online program. You can get access today and you can get started right away. The exercise we're going to look at is the plank. So you can see here, very simple. I'm in a plank position here on the screen. We've got the teaching points. So we begin in a plank position on the knees. So this is the easiest way to start. So we get the position of the spine, we get the elbows directly below the shoulders, so the elbows are roughly shoulder width apart. We want the forearms nice and parallel. So as you can see here, elbows below your shoulders, straight line from your shoulder to your knee. Now you can see here, I'm just above that. And again, I don't have too much of a problem with that when I'm working with people, for the very simple reason that when they fatigue, their hips will start to drop. So if we can get them just a little bit higher, as they fatigue, they'll drop into the right position. But again, we don't want to be sort of really sort of up in that position. It only wants to be very mild. So again, we're not over exaggerating the position. What we then do is extend onto one leg. Obviously, as you can see here, I've already gone onto two, but you would extend onto one leg, so you're on one leg and one knee. Then you would extend the other leg, so you're then on both feet. Again, all the same teaching points apply. We're in the plank position. We've got that position of the spine, the curve. We've got the elbows directly below the shoulders. And again, we've got that straight line sort of going from the ankle all the way up to the shoulder. And again, you can see I'm sort of in the right position, maybe a little bit higher. Again, for the very simple reason, when one fatigues, you can drop into the right position rather than going into that sort of bowed position. And then you sort of repeat and go on to the next, which is basically then going back down to the knees. And what we're going to do is I'm going to explain why we're going from the knees up into the full plank and then back down onto the knees. It comes down to what I describe as the set protocol. Now, when you go into a plank, it's the best way to get into a plank without getting out of position, if you will. So you're not just laying on your front and then sort of lifting your whole body from the floor, because that's a harder way of doing it. You're already in the position and all you're doing is just extending the leg. So it's the most effective way at the start and at the end of the plank to get in and out of the position safely without sort of changing the position of your spine. But we're talking about the most important bit, which is the set protocol. So again, this is aimed at beginners. So what we're doing is we're holding a plank for 10 seconds. So we start on the knees. We would then hold for 10 seconds, then return to the knees for 5 seconds. So we return to the knees, for 5 seconds, and then we repeat that process. We go up for 10, down for 5, up for 10, down for 5. And when I'm talking about a beginner, I'm talking about not being able to hold a plank for example, 30 seconds. So what we're doing, as you can see here, repeat that 3 times, we're building towards that 30 seconds. But what we're doing is we're building towards it in a logical way. So what you can do is you can hold for 10, drop for 5, hold for 10, drop for 5, hold for 10, end the set. So what you're effectively doing is holding that plank for 30 seconds, but just doing it in 3 chunks. And then what you can do is you can then start to put those chunks together. So you can then go 2 lots of 15 seconds, 1 lot of 30 seconds. So it's a very simple protocol to build from, or to build through, if you will. And then what you could do, you could even take it 4 blocks of 10 seconds, 5 blocks of 10 seconds, 6 blocks of 10 seconds, however you want to do it. So there's different ways of building it. But certainly from a beginner's perspective, and I would describe a beginner as someone who can't hold a plank for 30 seconds, This is how you build up to that point. So if you test yourself, how long do you hold it for? 15 seconds. Okay, great. Go through this process over a period of weeks. You should then be able to hold it for at least 20 and then even up into the 30-second bracket. What we're now going to look at is why. There is method to this format or to this set protocol. And it comes from designing back exercises from rehabilitation to enhancing performance by Stuart McGill, PhD. Now, he says, keep the duration of isometric exercises. So as I've mentioned, this is just the plank. You can do it with the side plank, you can do it with the bridge, you can do it with the bird, you can do it with Palov press, you can do it with many different exercises. But basically, isometric exercises are static exercises. So any exercise that's static, this is a way of building up that endurance and building into greater strength. So isometric exercises under 10 seconds and build endurance with repetition. So that's what I've described, going from here, back down onto the knees, back up into the plank, down onto the knees, up into the plank, back onto the knees, up into the plank, so on and so forth. Not by increasing the duration of the holds. Near-infrared spectroscopy of muscles showed us this was a way to build endurance without muscles cramping from oxygen starvation and acid buildup. So what's basically happening when you go into just a straight 30-second hold, 40-second hold, 50-second hold, 60-second hold, whatever it may be, you are getting that CO2 buildup, the acid buildup, and you're starving your muscles of oxygen. But by building in this sort of resting or easier type exercise, be it on the knees, what you're doing is you're allowing some of that to release. So you're allowing it to release and then you can go again. You can release and go again because it's this oxygen starvation and acid buildup, which is the fatigue that causes us to fail. So what we need to be able to do is build up that tolerance to that fatigue, and this is a perfect way of doing it. Going from kneeling, full plank, kneeling, full plank, or half plank, full plank, half plank, full plank, and just keep repeating that 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. So it's a very simple way for beginners to build up into that intermediate and advanced level. And if you want to do that in just 12 weeks, again, just click the link below. It starts as a beginner's program. So we work through this type of protocol to then build you up through into holding static exercises for longer, building in movement, building in strength, building in stability, and then building into the intermediate and advanced workouts at the end of the 12-week program. So if you think that would be helpful, click the link below and get started today.